Hello everybody, it's Foo here, and today we've got another everything you need to know about video. We will be covering the Charmander family today, the nice fire starter. Before we get into that, I've just got some news, which is that I will be participating in the WBE Pokemon Let's Go Draft League, which I'm really excited about. This is something that A-Drive is putting together. Basically, we pick 10 Pokemon from Pokemon Let's Go, and then we have Wi-Fi battles in Let's Go with those Pokemon, and we have to catch them ourselves. We can't do any hacking or genning or anything, so that's really interesting. You'll get a real bond with your team because you'll have had to combo chain them to get decent Pokemon. That's all really cool, and I'm really excited to do it. I have dabbled with some Wi-Fi battling, and it's just so frustrating online because you come up against Mewtwo like every other battle and it's insanely hard to kill. So it'll be good to get some proper Wi-Fi battles in there with some really interesting Pokemon. So if you like Wi-Fi battling, and if you're interested in Let's Go, or if you're not interested in Let's Go, I think it's worth watching these videos because I think the competitive side will be really interesting to everyone. So I'll be uploading my draft analysis really soon, can't wait to show off the Pokemon that I picked. And the battles will be coming probably in the new year, just so that we have some time to prep our teams. But on to today's video, the Charmander family and everything you need to know about them. We'll be talking about Charmander's location and how to combo chain them so that you can get good Pokemon and shiny Pokemon. We'll be talking about how to use them in game and against those master trainers, and then we'll also be looking at the best ways to use them in Wi-Fi battles. Charmander can fortunately be found really early game. You actually can get a gift Charmander from a person standing on Route 24. Just go up to him, he gives you the Charmander, and this is just before the Cerulean Gym. Not that Charmander will help you much against Misty, but it's good to be able to have it really early game. You can also catch it in the wild on Route 3, Route 4, and in Rock Tunnel, which is great because that means you can combo catch them to get 4 IV perfect Charmanders, which are great for Wi-Fi battles, and also you can raise that chance of finding a shiny. Like the other starters, they are rare finds in the wild, which means that they'll be really infrequently spawning unless you have a lure down or you have a combo chain already going, and only one will ever spawn at one time. So the best way to easily get a shiny is probably to get a combo chain of a different Pokemon, put a lure down, go to either Route 3, Route 4 or Rock Tunnel and hope that a shiny Charmander spawns, and the quickest way to cycle through them is to encounter them and run away. But if you want to combo catch a Charmander itself to get those good IV stats, then what you want to do is have a lot of patience, have some Ultra Balls, and wait for those Charmanders to spawn. As soon as you catch your first one, then you've got a chain of 1, which is it's not very helpful at all, basically, and you will have to be patient for those Charmanders to spawn so that you can catch them. Once you've got 11 Charmanders, they actually start spawning relatively frequently, and by the time you've got 31 and you're guaranteed those 4 perfect IVs, you won't have to worry. As soon as you catch one, the next one will be popping up, so that's fine. It's just patience getting those first 10 Charmanders. It can take a while. You can also catch Charizard in the wild pretty much anywhere where you can fly in the sky. And so that's really great because it's an easy way to get a Charizard. You don't have to train up a Charmander all the way. And it will be really exciting if you could maybe start chaining some Charizard to get a shiny Charizard with great stats there, which would be pretty interesting, but you'd have to have even more patience because they're rare as well, and it would take some time to do that, and they're a lot harder than Charmander to catch, but it's an option there. So how do you want to use these guys in game? Well, they're pretty good fire types, they're quite strong, and usefully they learn the move Dig, which means that they can hit rock types and other fire types from early on, which would otherwise resist their fire type attacks. In terms of gyms they're good against, there aren't too many, although Erica they're particularly good against, and also Koga, and to some extent Blaine as well if you have good coverage moves. Looking at how to beat the master trainers, with these guys you are able to use the toxic strategy, which is probably one of the best strategies to beat master trainers, and as I said, they have Dig, which is really useful for Charmander and Charmeleon to hit the other Charmanders and Charmeleons for super effective damage. You are likely going to have to use a lot of candies on these guys to make them stand up to the opposing Pokemon, but if you do, you probably don't have to level them up all the way to level 75. I managed to do it with a level 40 Pokemon, so that's pretty good. In terms of Charizard, you actually have a number of options here. Charizard has 2 Mega Evolutions because it's just so damn greedy. but it's really good to give you those options. So there's Mega Charizard Y, which has a much higher special attack stat and special defense stat, and then there's Mega Charizard X, which has equal attack and special attack and a higher defense stat. Notably, Mega Charizard X also has the dragon typing instead of the flying typing, which is very good because it means it's not as weak to rock types, and also dragon type is a very good offensive typing. So against the Master Trainer, I would say go with Mega Charizard X, because then you can use a more powerful rock slide to take on the opponent, which is definitely the easiest way of taking it down. If you want to use these guys competitively or in Wi-Fi battles, that is definitely an option. Mega Charizard is a very powerful Pokemon whether you choose Y or X, but you really have to bear in mind that Mega Charizard Y will be weak to rock types, and Stealth Rock means that it will be taking 50% damage anytime it switches in once they're set up, which is really not great. The thing about Mega Charizard Y is its powerful Fire Blast is able to take down the very bulky Melmetal, which you won't be seeing too often, but when you do it's usually a problem, but not for Mega Charizard Y. Mega Charizard X, however, is definitely the more reliable option, and I really like using Mega Charizard X. I think it's got some great niches and reasons to use it, and it's one of the best fire types out there for sure. Though it does get a massive boost to its attack stat, I would say that a special set is very, very good, and probably the one I prefer. I like to run Timid with Dragon Pulse, Flamethrower, Will-O-Wisp and Roost. This means that you can burn any of your checks that might want to switch in, and generally they're physical attacking rock types or ground types. Once you neuter their attack stat with a burn, you can actually probably tank most of their hits and roost off the damage, which is amazing. Its Flamethrower and Dragon Pulse will be doing a lot of damage, and there's not anything that resists both of those moves. So that's really, really great coverage. And as I say, Roost just keeps you healthy. It's got decent bulk, so even if it's switching in on Stealth Rock and taking a quarter of its health each time it switches in, you can roost off a lot of damage, and you can resist a lot of attacks too. It's really nice typing. So this is my favourite Mega Charizard X set. But actually a lot of people will be fearing a physical set. So you can run a physical set with Flare Blitz, Outrage, and Earthquake and Roost, just an all-out attacking set, or maybe switch out one of the attacks for Will-O-Wisp too. But this set is very hard to switch in on just because of the high base power of these moves. They're much higher base power than the special attacks, and so will be doing more damage. But they do come with a few drawbacks you have to note in your head. So the Flare Blitz gets recoil, which could limit the amount of times you can switch in, but it's very powerful and very nice to use. Outrage locks you in, so if you go for an Outrage and the opponent switches into something that can really tank that and then hit that super effectively, you have to bear that in mind. So for example, if they switch into their Rhydon, you're then locked into Outrage and the Rhydon can just take you out, so that's not ideal, so you have to bear that in mind, but very few switch-ins to a powerful Outrage. And then Earthquake is there just for some coverage, but really you don't need too much coverage on this set. So it's very threatening, but actually probably easier to deal with than the special set that I really like. But definitely keep your eye out for it, because Charizard X is not an easy Pokemon to take down, and when it's dealing so much damage it can be very scary. I definitely advise you to try out Charizard, probably the Mega Charizard X set. I think it's one of the coolest Megas out there. Definitely a more technical Mega to use, because it's quite hard to know when's best to bring it in, which move to go for. You need some prediction there, I feel, because it doesn't necessarily have the immediate power with the special set. But if you get the Will-O-Wisps on the right thing, this thing is just impossible for the opponent to take down, and it's really, really nice. So yeah, if you want to style on the opponents, Mega Charizard X is a really cool Mega to use. That's my lowdown on the Charmander family. Please let me know what you think of these guys. If you've tried to use them in Wi-Fi battles, I'd love to hear about that. Or if you've tried any creative sets against those Master Trainers, that would be cool to hear. But that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep your eye out for some more competitive content. In terms of these everything you need to know about videos, I might just pause these for while I'm doing these Wi-Fi battles, just because that's probably going to take up quite a lot of my time, and I do want to get some Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon content out there for the people who aren't as interested in Pokemon Let's Go. So we might pause these for a while, but there will be Let's Go content, maybe more interesting content for you guys because there's actual battling. That's going to be all. Thanks so much for watching. I've been foofootoo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.